Hey guys, Mike here. So today we can answer all your questions and your comments, and this is one of my favorite videos, so feel free to participate in the bottom. Some of these I'll probably need your help with, and a couple of these are actually about me. You ask some personal questions about me, so if you want to know anything about it, hang around and I'll tell you a few things and try to answer to the best of my ability. As usual, please hit that like button, helps people find the video. Think about sharing the video with someone, that will be great as well. And as usual, let's get right into it with the first one. And the first one says, what indicator do you use for long-term dollar cost averaging? Thanks for all your hard work. Well, I want to be clear about one thing. There's certain points I'll start with dollar cost averaging, but not once I see that death cross. So let me be very clear about that at first. As a lot of people found in 2022, dip buyers were dying and stuff. And so, there's a way to do this. And so, again, on the way up, when we start to somewhat bottom, when we're down, especially 20% on the S&P, that's a whole different ballgame, right? Then we definitely start trying to bottom fish and all that fun stuff. But understand, here we get a bullish cross right here. And so when you see this right here, then it's like, all right, what do I want to look at? Well, that's one way to dollar cost average right there, right? That's a huge way to dollar cost average. Like to really go into, as you can see, you don't get many of these. Okay, this is the S&P, and I'm looking at the S&P, not individual stocks, right? If you look at the S&P, and whenever if you dollar cost averaging right on that 50 and 200 cross, you're going to be money. All right, that's just the way it is. Is it going to be straight up? Probably not, but you can pretty much see for yourself there. You don't get a lot of them, but when you do, take advantage of them, okay? Just FYI on that. What's another way to do it? You can look at this other indicator. It's free on TradeView, and it is called, look at this for you, it's called the Whaley Breath Thrust Indicator. It rarely ever pops up, but when it does, it usually is pretty good. It doesn't work on all stocks. I'll show you some it doesn't work on very well. But again, if you're buying the SPY and the Q and things like that, it won't time the bottom for you, but you can pretty much see if you did buy, you would be in a good position for the long term. Microsoft does pretty good on any really the big ones like Microsoft and Apple. These have been fantastic buys, right? Apple's another one, I believe. If you look up here and pull Apple up, you can see right there, that would have been fantastic buys, right? That's another way to dollar cost average in. Don't have to be doing any research or anything on it. You just look at it and go, okay. And I like indicators that rarely pop up like that, kind of like a bullish cross right there between your 50 and your 200 right there. And so, or a golden cross is also what it's called, just for factual purposes. That's Google. Those have been great purchases, right? Those have been great dollar cost averaging points and stuff. And maybe when you look at that, you go, maybe I need to go a little heavier than I normally go. Tesla, it's okay on Tesla. I mean, again, right here, you had a big run, but a big drop. That pretty much timed the bottom on that one right there, timed the bottom over here almost. Not perfectly. And so, again, one thing that does not work on Chinese stocks, not at all. And so, honestly, it just doesn't. And so I would not follow it on Chinese stocks, maybe even crypto, that kind of stuff. But just make sure you look in the past and how it's done, okay? Another way to dollar cost average is very easy. All this stuff is free to you, by the way. And when you look here, it's just moving averages. Figure out what stocks respect what moving averages, right? Google loves to ride the 50, the 100, and if you ever get to the 200, it's a great dollar cost averaging move if you're on an uptrend. And so, I mean, look at Microsoft. Microsoft ain't touched the 200 since the beginning of 2023, but it's rode that 50 and 100 up. And then here's the biggest thing, too. Let me take away these moving averages. This is free. You can do it on Yahoo charts, any charts. Trend lines. When you get an uptrend, you can see Yahoo, man. And I think Meta's going to be another one. All these others, Google, they get these trend lines they're going to for like a year or more. When it hits a trend line, you dollar cost average. I personally wait for the bounce to make sure it's not going to fall through. Pull up your volume profile. You can use that as well. It's a great area. The dollar cost average kind of shows you the levels of support where volume comes in. And so these are all free things if you have a TradingView account. If you need an account, hit the link down the bottom. But a lot of the stuff you can do on Yahoo Finance charts, for crying out loud. So hopefully that helps. Let me know. Now, another one here says, an observation as I'm holding Visa, I noticed a pattern, not sure if it is a valid one. Both Visa and MasterCard pull back like roughly 4 months before markets when there's a significant sell-off. Not sure it's a valid observation. Enjoy your vacation. I'm sure I certainly appreciate that. When we look at this, believe it or not, I'm going to pull it up for you and let's just look. In 2022, you were actually right. We'll pull up SPY over Visa and we'll pull up MasterCard as well. So with Visa, you can see right there, not really. Right there, not really. But when you look at like a big pull down, like almost like a crash, right? In 2022, it started selling off in 2021. But when you go back to the other ones, and the problem is Visa hadn't been public as long as a lot of people think it has. 2018, sold off about a week before maybe. But when you go back to 2008, you can see it really didn't sell down before. And this is 2015 right there. Yeah, we had a decent pullback in 2014, excuse me. And again, I don't really see the significance of that one. But when we go all the way back to the '08 crash, you can plainly see it didn't. It ran up actually, and sold off at the same time. We go to MasterCard, it's been public a little bit longer. You'll pretty much see the same thing. They're in lockstep with the S&P right here. And then 2022, yeah, they sold down, started selling down before the market started to crash. And so, absolutely. So maybe that will be a new thing. We'll have to figure that out because we're using credit cards more than ever, right? So maybe '08 was different. Times change, okay? We're on credit cards a lot more. We've seen that. 2020 was a freak deal. Nope. 2018, same thing. Sold off with the rest of the market. This one, again, has been public longer. But when we make our way back to the 2008 crash, you can see it actually ran up into, and the reason why, think about it, if there's a real recession, people are maxing out those credit cards, right? Because they lost their jobs, don't have any cash, and so that's what we got to figure out because there was no recession. So if there's a recession, you might have a whole different effect going on. So just let me know what you think about that. And if anybody else has the information, please put it in the bottom. Now, next one here says, Mike, people keep saying people having low mortgage rate, but no one ever talks about how the property taxes have skyrocketed for some. Because of this amount of people are paying for mortgages is nothing compared to how much they are paying for property taxes. I pointed this out in one of your older videos. Now another YouTube ABL is pointing this out because it's happening to people in America. Their property taxes have increased to insane amounts. And then you just scroll through here and you see people, yes, taxes, and here in Florida, the property insurance is adding another monthly expense almost as high as the mortgage itself. These aren't fixed costs either, making home ownership almost impossible. And you see the same thing. People complain about it. I will say this, that in Florida, if you're in Florida, you have what you call the Save Our Homes provision, and you have homestead exemption, right? Which kind of caps how much the valuation can increase. So like we'll see a 3 to 3.5% increase, which is a lot. It absolutely is a lot. And it definitely sucks. Now, when it comes to insurance in Florida, you need to shop around. Yes, because it was like 3 years ago, all of a sudden they literally went up 100% one year. Luckily, my neighbor's in the business, so actually he got me a 50% discount because he showed me the secret on the computer. He said, you got to find somebody who's trying to get into that market who has low risk, which means they don't have a lot of risk in the area if there's a hurricane that hits in Florida, right? And so I was able to get in with one, a major insurance provider. So everybody else went up 100. I dropped by 50%. Right? And so I started off way down here, and then the next year it went up some, and then I switched again. And so I'm probably here, and everybody else is out of the moon right now, right? So that's one thing about insurance. You have to shop around. I was with USAA for everything because I'm a veteran, and I loved them for everything. I got to Florida. They have an extreme amount of risk on everything, cars and everything else. I was able to cut my car insurance bill in half by going with major providers, right? Homeowner insurance, boom, skyrocket down. So you have to shop around. I can't speak for the rest of the country. I don't know how you do with your property taxes or your insurance. So yes, you're right. Those are going up. But I'd much rather be dealing with that than the rents, okay? Because the rents in my area are way higher than what the mortgages are in my area right now. Of course, I guess if you bought the house new, that'd be different. You know what I'm saying? But current mortgages. So I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But if you're in Florida, follow the tip. And many other states, shop around. I promise you, staying with your same provider like I did for a long time cost me a lot of money, man. A lot of money. Especially now that I know how insurance companies actually work. So hopefully that helps you out. Another question from Dr. Marks here says, I hope you enjoy vacation. Question for Saturday's video. What was the catalyst that got you into investing and being interested in the markets? If I remember correctly, you're a military man, don't technically have financial background. You come from humble beginnings with and without silver spoon. Schools don't teach us this stuff either. So for you, what was the impetus to get into the markets? And for me, it was actually, I got into it years ago, but I was working and doing all this stuff, and I really enjoy the markets. But I just knew for me, it was something that wasn't right. Like I had plenty of finance classes. I got an MBA and a bachelor's and all that crazy mess and business and everything else. So you take a lot of finance courses, a lot of accounting courses, and I knew something wasn't right. What we were being taught in school at all. I knew Wall Street had to be, I'm gonna say rigged, but it was being run differently than what we were being taught, right? We're like the guinea pigs or something here. All right, the buffalo, they herd off the deep end. And I would just see these people, these videos of people from the dot-com crash, the '08 crash, these older people who were going to retire or were retired, having to go back to work because all their stuff was lost in the crashes. And I thought, God, that can't be right. What is going on? And so again, that's why I did research. If you watch Thursday's video, if you didn't, go watch it. That kind of stuff. I started discovering it because you will invest differently. You can't help but invest differently and look at things differently and wake up, right? And so that's why I got into it. And then 2020 happened, and I started this channel, and there we go. And one thing I found out I was getting my MBA, I'm really good at research. I can do it fast and detailed, and I'm just good at it. I love it. I love this. I love knowing the answer to something. I'm definitely not the buffalo to be run off the cliff. That's not me. I'd be standing there as a buffalo going, what are you idiots doing running off the cliff? That would just be me. I think they're herding us for a reason, right? When they need you to herd them off the cliff. And so, that's just one of those things. That's how I am. I march the beat of my own drum. I'm not really going with the herd type of guy. So it works out for me. All right. And so that's why I got into it and stuff. And, I promise you, I know some of the best traders out there, man. They'll tell you, ain't none of that stuff taught in school, investing, none of it. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. So hopefully that's a little bit about me. And the next one here we'll end with is actually a personal question too. And I've got this a lot, and I'll finally answer it. Hey, Mike, not a finance question, but I'm just curious, what is all that stuff in your backyard? I'm assuming that is not green screen. No, that is actually my backyard. And understand, before I even tell you about the pictures, my big thing was I never had a father. My dad died when I was 2. And, my stepdad was a nightmare. And so I never had that guy in my life, right? So when I became a father, and I only have one, and he's a son, especially a son, that I said, I at least want to be able to do stuff. I want him to, have reasons to go outside. Because this generation now, going outside is like, getting the plague or something, or the flu. I mean, you got to push them out there. In my day, it was you were punished by staying inside. Now they're like, cool, let's stay inside. And so I want to give my kid and his friends no excuses to be in the house, and things he was interested in. We were going to, I'll do whatever I can to make that happen or whatever. And I do things on a budget. And so I'm not handy at all. My wife will tell you that. Anybody will tell you that knows me. I can't fix anything. But I can build stuff with wood. It may not be great, and it's not, up to the level you experts are at all. And I'm good at reusing wood, right? Because lumber can be expensive, and so can everything else. And so what you see in the backyard here is, one, this is a soccer goal. One of the neighbors is giving away, so I pulled it over. I forgot the name of this game right here where you got the ball. We were on vacation one time, and he just loved it. All the kids loved it, so I built that, put it in the ground. I didn't even build it. I put it in the ground, made it, and boom, so we're good to go on that one. And then when you come over here, you'll see right here these monkey bars. When I bought the house, this guy had a deck right here for no reason, right? It wasn't level or anything, so I leveled it out the best I could, put sod in. All that wood you see used to be a gigantic climbing wall because this was like an obstacle course I built when he was 4 years old. So him and his friends could do it, and he got the monkey bars, and then there's a balance beam, and it jumped into a climbing wall that had chains and everything else. So I tore that down to reuse that wood. But you see this rope right here was about 5 feet long. That's what he started on when he was 4 years old. And then by the time he was 6, I upgraded him to a bigger rope and this tree right here. And so by 6, he could climb this rope. It's about 25 feet long, about the height of our house. And so not too many 6-year-olds can do that, but I mean, he can go up and down that thing now like 3 or 4 times without stopping. And so he's better than most military guys. And then I used the wood from the climbing wall to build this latest thing right here, which is the Gaga ball pit, as you can see right here. Don't judge my marksmanship. That was actually shelves that we took down from inside the house, not using it anymore, and then wood from the climbing wall, and the kids love it. And 800 pounds of sand. That was fun, getting in the backyard. And of course, this over here is, I built this out of that climbing wall wood, this right here, with a pad on top. It goes from 32 to 35 inches, and it's just because he said, I want to get more explosive before football season comes around and faster and stuff. And so I started reading about it, and he said, box jumps helps with explosiveness, so I built him something to do box jumps on. And I do it myself as well, and we're big on working out, man. I got a sled, so I mean, I want to make sure he is physically active, outside getting vitamin D, all that good stuff. And so that's just my philosophy. That's how I do it. And that's all the stuff I have in the backyard right there. So appreciate you asking. Glad I finally answered it again. Don't judge my craftsmanship. And I stopped painting stuff back there because in this weather with hurricanes and rain, it just doesn't do any good anyway. So, and plus I need to cut my grass, which I actually did after I took those photos. So, because it looks pretty bad. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to answer any of those questions. I would definitely appreciate it. Also, answer me a question this. Have any of you guys ever bought Leap options on the VIX? I'm asking our members because one of our members actually asked me, and I've never even tried that, buying Leap options on the VIX. I wouldn't think it would work just because it's so volatile. But I just want to ask, and I know some of you guys are options experts, and so I'm just asking everybody to get feedback. That's kind of how I roll when somebody asks me a question, because I'm not ashamed to admit I don't know something. Just never done it, and I've never heard anybody doing it. So please let me know in the comments. I sure appreciate it, and I'll get the feedback to one of our members on that. So please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.